There are so many gels on the sport nutrition market that knowing where to start can be a little bit daunting if you're considering trying a new one. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the OTE. I've got the naturally flavored cherry super gel. I think it's probably called super gel because it contains 40 grams of carbohydrate, which is, relatively speaking, quite a large serving size. So we're going to be looking at the taste profile, the flavor, the textures, and I'm going to be giving it my 5-star rating as always. To start off, let's look at the price. So I got a pack of 12. This cost me £25.38, which makes these out to be £2.11 per gel. So I've given this £3 signs in my schemes, in my pricing system. But what's the flavor profile like? Let's have a little taste. So again, a little bit firmer to get into, but that's fine. Okay, so immediately it's much more mellow than the Beta gel. You do still get the artificial sort of cherry kind of taste, although it says naturally flavored. So the taste profile is much more mellow, and I think that's probably because it's been naturally flavored, so you don't get like this hit of artificial. So it's not like the cherry cola. You're not getting that sort of artificial glacé cherry. Much more smooth. In terms of its sweetness profile, again, much lower than the SIS. I'll explain that on the board in a second. I think if you like the taste of cherry, you'll probably get on well with this one. Yeah, not unhappy with this one at all. Let's go again. Okay, so the taste profile there, it's much more mellow than the Beta Fuel. That is just like, whoa, you're punched in the face with artificial flavors. Whereas this one, again, probably because it's actually naturally flavored, it's nowhere near as punchy. And also because the sweetness, it's much lower. You don't sort of get this, whoa, rush of sweet. Comes up a lot more mellow there. And I think that in the combination with the more natural flavoring means it's a much more palatable gel, in my opinion. If you like cherry, you'll probably get on with this one, but it's bearing in mind that it's not the sort of glacé cherry taste or the like artificial cherry cola kind of taste that you're getting. It's much more of a mellow sort of cherry juice flavor. Let's look at the texture. So the texture, if we squeeze it out, whoa, you can immediately see it starting to run a lot more. A little bit sticky, but nowhere near as much as the Beta Fuel. So I'm classing this one as an 8 out of 10 on the wetness. So it's much more of a wetter gel compared with it being sticky, where I've only given it a 2 out of 10 on the sticky. And as you can see there, it's not gloopy at all. So I've only put a 1 out of 10 on the gloopiness. So if you like a slightly wetter gel, this could be a good option. And I think that wetter feel, it means it doesn't cloy to the mouth quite as much. So the flavor profile doesn't stay with you quite as long. Let me try and explain the sweetness with my graph. So the OTE gel here, I would say instead of it being a 7 with the Beta Fuel, this one is much more like a 4 in terms of its peak sweetness, but it reaches that a lot slower. So it comes here and then it kind of crests and dies off fairly quickly. So much more mellow, a little bit easier on the sweetness there. This one is our OTE cherry. So on my 5-star rating for this product, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. It's a very good all-rounder. It's not very offensive in terms of its flavor profile. It's not that big. It's not that sickly sweet. So it could be quite an easy one if you're just looking for a 40 gram of carb serving. That's quite non-offensive. In our next video, we're going to be looking at the Protein Rebel Maple Ignite. I'll see you then.